Hello and welcome back to day 3 of World Youth Day. My name is Mari Pablo and I am your host here for Shalom World Live. I'm so excited to be here in the city of joy. Here right behind me you see hundreds and hundreds of confessionals that were built for people to come and experience the sacrament of confession here in Lisbon, Portugal. What's one of the beautiful things about World Youth Day, that it's all about an encounter with the Lord to be able to receive His love and His mercy. There's a lot of things going on today. There's so many events here in the City of Joy. There's so many different vocations set up. We have different booths for different ministries. And today, the Pope is going to be continuing to meet with the young people of Portugal. He's going to be starting with meeting with the Universidad Católica Portuguesa, one of the local universities here in Lisbon, to sit down and have a conversation with the students here, to learn more about what it is that they're going to be talking about, and what the Lord is going to be speaking in their hearts. From there, the Pope will be continuing to meet with the Escolas Ocurrentes de Casais, to continue to have those conversations of what is happening here in Lisbon, Portugal, to be able to meet with them and to hear their hearts. And from there, the Pope will be moving to Parque Eduardo VII. And from there, he's going to have the heartwarming welcome ceremony where he'll be addressing the youth. Really, the Pope is doing a lot here. God is doing a lot here today through him. Started yesterday by welcoming him with the opening mass, and we're so excited to see all the different things that the Lord has in store for us today. So before we dive into day 3, let's take a look at what happened in day 2. Check it out.
Santo.
And there was a look at all the different things that happened yesterday here at World Youth Day, day 2. As we continue to dive into day 3, we're going to dive into 2 important symbols and icons of World Youth Day. And that is 1, the Pilgrim Cross, and 2, the image of Our Lady Salutis Populi Romani. And here we see that these 2 images, these 2 icons are so important for what we're doing here at World Youth Day. They serve as important symbols and really have an important meaning. So let us learn a little bit about these 2 images of the Pilgrim Cross and Our Lady Salutis Populi Romani. Let's check it out.
World Youth Day features 2 significant symbols, the Pilgrim Cross and the icon of Our Lady Salutis Populi Romani. The Pilgrim Cross was introduced during the Holy Year of Redemption in 1983-1984 by Pope John Paul II to instill faith and hope in the youth. The 3.8-meter-high wooden cross is presented to young people from the host country of each World Youth Day, and they are entrusted with carrying it to the next host city. The cross has traveled through 5 continents and almost 90 countries, symbolizing the universal nature of the Catholic Church and the faith journey of young individuals. Since 2003, the Pilgrim Cross has been accompanied by the Salutis Populi Romani icon. The icon is believed to have been painted by the evangelist Luke and has been venerated in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome for centuries. This Marian image is displayed alongside the cross, emphasizing the connection between the local and universal church. Both icons inspire and unite young Catholics from around the world during WYD events.
Today we have a very special guest with us, the Bishop of Leiria. His name is Monsignor Bishop Jose Ornelas Carvalho. We were able to sit down and have a conversation with him and learn about all the different things that is happening with him and to see what it is that he has to say. Let's check it out right now.
We are here in Fatima with His Excellence Bishop Jose Ornelas, Bishop of Leiria, Fatima, and we are going to ask Bishop a few questions. Your Excellence, could you tell us something about the trip of the Pope to Fatima this year? You know, it's been 6 years since he's been here, so could you tell us what is the significance of this particular trip?
Okay, the Pope would not like to tell about it as a trip. He says, I want to go as a pilgrim in order to pray. This is the main goal. He says, it's a tradition that during the youth days, the Pope always try to visit and to pray in a Marian sanctuary that is significant in every country he goes. And this is main goal. It's to pray to Our Lady, to pray with people that will be here, to pray for the youth days and for the young people that is taking part in it, but asking also not only the protection but the inspiration of the Virgin Mary for the church and especially for the young people in the church.
Your Excellence, could you tell us what are the preparations being done to welcome the Pope here in Fatima?
Well, first of all, we understand it just as a step in this pilgrimage of the Pope to stay with young people in the church, and therefore the main importance, as we keep it very clear in our minds and hearts, is the youth days is taking place in Lisbon. But naturally, we are aware, very much aware, that the majority of the young people who came to the youth days will come to visit also Fatima.
Your Excellency, do you think this visit to Fatima will invigorate the faith of the young people?
I think so. Well, when we come to Fatima, Fatima is a sanctuary with a Marian spirituality, very simple, as simple are the things of God, but that can enter deeply in the hearts of people. And I think this is the case here, especially because what we have here is Our Lady came to take care of the children. 2 of them died during the pandemic, and we could consider it something tragic, but for them it was not, because they were prepared, because the contact with Mary brought them to a maturity of faith that is not easy to find in simple children. And that's why this sanctuary is also special. I think it's taking care of what is fragile, what is in pain. It was during the First World War with, the terrific pictures we have and the narratives that we had from that time.
Your Excellency, that was really thought-inspiring, very nice words. All right, can I ask you about Sister Lucia? She is now venerable, so do we have anything planned to tell everyone she's now venerable?
Okay, we are waiting for that. We are working for it. We're not waiting, sitting, but we are doing our best and do it was required from us to study. The sanctuary made a big effort of knowing, exploring, studying all the documents we have from the writings of Sister Lucia. She is the one who really made us known the dialogues among them, these little children, and is the one who really came to maturity with this spirituality. What we know from Fatima is mainly from her writings and talks that she had, and she represents the maturity of faith in this message. Therefore, it's very important to know, also to know and to make a real study of an hermeneutic of the images that these children have at this time and what it means for us today. She is very, very important.
Excellence. Can you tell us something about the rosary that is being planned for sick during the visit of Pope Francis?
The visit of the Pope will be very short in time, because the agenda of that day also has many other things, and therefore the Pope wants to come to pray. And the prayer that is most common in the message of Our Lady is the Rosary. So it's very normal here. It's not several times a day. It's made publicly. But having the Pope here and praying with him is very important. Because this Fatima, the connection with from Fatima with the person and the function and the service of the Pope it's in the roots of the spirituality of Fatima. So having and paying with the Pope is the most normal thing. And it was and it continues very much deep in the spirituality of Fatima in these days.
Have you ever heard of the World Youth Day that took place in 1995 in Manila in the Philippines? It just happens to be one of the largest World Youth Days to ever take place, with over 4 million people gathered closing Mass. Let's take a moment, as we're literally in the road of Manila, to see what all the things that happened in 1995 in this incredible gathering so many years ago. Let us take a look.
World Youth Day 1995, held in Manila, the capital of
Mission Redeemer Ministries. And one of the things that we love about him is that he had an incredible experience after attending one of the World Youth Days, really where the Lord transformed his heart and he had a big moment of conversion. And so we're so excited to welcome him here today to learn more about what the Lord did so many years ago in these different World Youth Day experiences. Hello, Michael. We are so happy to have you join us with us today. Thank you for taking the time to talk about what the Lord did in your heart so many years ago.
Thank you so much. It's a real joy to be with you today.
As we're in the middle of World Youth Day, Michael, I heard that many years ago you attended a World Youth Day and your heart was transformed. Can you take a couple of minutes to just tell us a little bit about what the Lord did in your heart and what was that moment of conversion for you so many years ago in World Youth Day?
So I was raised in a Catholic family. I went to Mass every Sunday, prayed before I ate, happy to be Catholic. I liked being Catholic. But my faith was shallow. There wasn't any depth to it. I never sought after God's will. I never really sought a life of virtue. It's just something that I did on Sundays and that was it. But when I was in college, I liked to travel. So each summer I would find some place that was new and exciting for me to go to. And during my second year of college, I saw a poster at a parish for World Youth Day. Now, I didn't know anything about World Youth Days, but what I saw was that it was in Rome. So what caught my attention wasn't the religious dimension. It wasn't really that the Pope was going to be there. It was a chance for me to go to Rome. And so that's why I signed up for it. And graciously, there was a few different priests that helped me to make it there in terms of funding. And I was there with a group of 50 other university students from across Canada. Now, I didn't know any of them. And what I also didn't know was that they were all on fire for their faith. They loved the Lord. They were filled with the Holy Spirit. And I was there because I just wanted to be a tourist. But the experience of World Youth Day in Rome, spending several days in Turin beforehand, and then several days in Rome, it really ignited something within me. Because what I saw in the other pilgrims that were there, in a particular way, and the pilgrims that I was with, that group of 50 people, I saw a joy and a faith and a peace and a happiness that I didn't have. There was something in their life, in their heart, in their soul that I wanted, that I desired, that I didn't have. And I can remember at the final Mass with John Paul II, the gospel was from the Gospel of John. It was where Jesus turns to Peter and he says, "Will you leave me also?" It's in John 6. And Peter says, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of everlasting life." And those words just echoed in my heart that Jesus is the one that has the words of everlasting life. So World Youth Day itself finishes, and I'm kind of having these mixed experiences of still not really sure what it means to take my faith more seriously, but also being very attracted to it by those that I see. And after World Youth Day, some of the other people that I was with were going up to Assisi for a couple of days. And so I joined them on a train ride. And while I was on the train ride to Assisi, one of the leaders from the group began to talk to me about my experience of World Youth Day. And I was sharing with him how I was so inspired by the other students that I met and by the leaders that I met. But I didn't really know how to get from where I was to where they were. And he, in very simple terms, shared the gospel with me. That Jesus has made me for friendship, that he has loved me perfectly, and that he wants me to surrender my life. And so when we arrived in Assisi the next day, I took some time the next afternoon, and I prayed what I really considered to be the first prayer of my life. And it was just a prayer of complete surrender of myself to God. I want Jesus to love you. I want to serve you. I want to do your will. I want my life to be in your hands. And I want to know you the way that all those other, the way that they know you. And for me, that was the fundamental moment of change in my life. That previously I knew of God. I had the first seeds of faith. But it was from then on that I really entered into the fullness of the life of faith and the heart of the church.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey from encountering the Lord to being the founder of Mission Redeemer Ministries? What was your vision for this and how did this come about?
So within 2 weeks of World Youth Day, I'm starting to feel this desire to want to evangelize, but I don't know where to begin and what to do. And it was a bit of a journey for me. It took about 6 years, almost actually 7 years to sort all that out and what it would look like. And I went on various mission trips during that time, and I was involved in campus ministry, and all sorts of different evangelization initiatives that other people were leading, and I just sort of went along with and was part of. And what happened was that one of them was something called a School of Evangelization. And it was a week-long program that devout, faithful, evangelized Catholics came to, and they were formed and equipped and prepared to go out on mission. And I really thought this is essential, because if we want the new evangelization to take root, we need to equip Catholics that have faith to go and become missionary disciples. And so it was out of this insight that Mission of the Redeemer Ministries was born in 2007. And our mission simply was to, following the call of John Paul II to the new evangelization, which is just an echo of the Great Commission that Jesus gave us, following that, being faithful to that, we want to form, equip, and prepare Catholics to go out and engage in the new evangelization, to be what Pope Francis has called missionary disciples. And so I draw a straight line from my experience at World Youth Day, where I heard John Paul II proclaim the gospel, where I saw the faith alive in other young people, right up to the launching of my ministry, because I said, I want what happens to young people at World Youth Day, I want to see that happen throughout the church, in our parishes, in our dioceses, in our schools, everywhere we go, that people are having a deeper encounter with Christ. And the key is they're responding to that. They're recognizing that there's, through God's grace, an engagement of our will to say yes to it, to the fullness of what he has for us.
Looking back at the journey the Lord has brought you from encountering him to starting this ministry, can you take a few minutes? How does it feel to be here in this place right now and to witness all the things the Lord has done?
Over these last 20 years, I've just become ever more convinced of the need for mission and evangelization. You know, we see the further decaying of culture and of society. We see people abandoning the faith. We see all sorts of attacks on human life and on the family and of the nature of marriage. It's easy to become discouraged. It's easy to say, like, where is the church in all of this? Where is God in all of this? What can we possibly do in the face of such enormous challenges? And I think the answer always remains the same. And I'm reminded of the very first words of John Paul II in his very first encyclical. So an encyclical is kind of the most important document a pope will write. So the very first words of his first encyclical are words to pay attention to. And John Paul II wrote, Jesus Christ, the Redeemer of man, is the center of the universe and of history. That's the fundamental truth that the world needs to hear, that Jesus Christ is the center of everything. I wish in these 20 years that we had seen great and tremendous renewal within the church. I wish we had seen the flourishing of the human person in society, and we haven't. But that should never discourage us. Rather, we should evermore dig into the mission that Jesus gave us. The Great Commission is for all space and time. It's the mission for today, and it's the task that God's given us. And what a privileged moment we live in to be able to take his gospel to a world that is hungry again for it.
Michael Dopp, it was so great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us and for taking time out. And we look forward to continuing to see what the Lord is going to continue to do as your story continues to unravel.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you, and thank you for the tremendous work you do internationally in sharing the Catholic faith, in highlighting things like World Youth Day, in trying to draw people ever more to the Catholic Church and to Christ. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you.
We were able to catch the World Youth Day that took place in 2019, of just a few years ago. A couple of things that were different about this and special about this World Youth Day. Number one, it was in a different time of the year, so it took place in January. And two, it was literally the last time that we were able to have a World Youth Day. We have a little bit of a gap here. It's been 4 years due to the pandemic and due to different things, which makes us so excited to be here today in Lisbon. So let's take a moment and dive back just 4 years ago from the last time that we were all gathered here for a World Youth Day in Panama. Let's take a moment right now. Check it out.
previous World Youth Day was held in Panama in 2019 from January 22nd to 27th. Cinta Costera hosted the main events during the week of World Youth Day. St. John Paul II, St. Juan Diego, and St. John Bosco were some of the patron saints of the mega youth event held in the Latin American nation. Pope Francis arrived in the country on January 23rd to bless the event with his presence. The Bible verse taken from the Gospel of Luke, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word," was the theme of the event. 200 confessionals were installed at a place called the Park of Forgiveness for young people to participate in the sacrament of reconciliation. The confessionals were built by La Jolla prison inmates. Approximately 700,000 young people participated in the closing Mass, celebrated by Pope Francis in Panama City's Metro Park on January 27th.
Hear the stories of people that have attended World Youth Days before, the things that the Lord has done, the ways that their hearts were transformed, and the incredible moments that have really impacted them to bring them and make them who they are today. So let's take a moment and hear as they share their good news, as they evangelize to our hearts through their witness. Let's hear about it right now.
Hello, what's your name?
I'm Clara.
My name is Sara.
With Konrad. Michał, but you can call me Mike.
My name is Nick.
From Poland.
I'm from Costa Rica.
I come from Spain.
I'm from Poland.
From Belgium.
So I've heard this is not your first World Youth Day.
Yes, my third time on World Youth Day. Before it was in Krakow and Panama.
No, it is my second one. I have been also in Panama in 2019.
Amazing. What's the biggest difference from Panama and Lisbon?
Well, actually, it's very similar, but I think I have been very young people here also enjoying this beautiful this beautiful occasion to be with the Holy Father, and I think it is like a little bit more organized.
What is something you always take home after every World Youth Day that deepens your faith?
I bring always home the lots of meetings with all young people, and also a lot of concerts.
A lot of concerts.
Yes.
You keep the memories.
Yes, especially with the worship bands. I really like that one.
Oh, that's nice.
World Youth Day, Krakow and Panama make my faith stronger, because it's experience which show me that we are together, we are not alone in church.
So tell me, is this your first World Youth Day?
No, it's not. In fact, I have been in 4 already. I could be in Madrid 2011, and then in Krakow 2016, and in Panama 2019, and now I'm here.
Now I'm enjoying here in Portugal. I was also in Porto at families, and it was a really nice experience. They were amazing people, so I'm really enjoying culture of Portugal, and it's really amazing, and I think everyone should try it.
What is the biggest difference from all the World Youth Days?
I think all of them have one thing in common, is that we come here to meet Jesus Christ, to meet each other with people that believe in Jesus Christ as their model of life, and we also come to see the Pope. I mean, is the figure that represents Jesus Christ.
The country himself, of course. Also the city of joy where we are in now. That's a big difference. It was different from the others.
Thank you for continuing to join us here in Shalom World as we continue to broadcast live from World Youth Day in Lisbon, Portugal. My name is Mari Pablo, and I'm so happy to be your host. And something incredible is about to start in a few minutes as Pope Francis gets ready to meet with the local university students here at the local school called the Universidad Católica Portuguesa, where he will be sitting down and having really important conversations with the youth and the students at this university, sharing their insights, hearing from them, hearing their hearts, and really having that dialogue and conversation. And then from there, he will continue to meet with other students and other young people at the Escola Ocurriente, in the Escolas Ocurrientes headquarters in Casais. And then the evening will conclude as he gets ready to go to Parque Eduardo VII and have the welcome ceremony. So let's take a minute right now, and as we go live to Pope Francis arriving at this university to meet with these students. And let's say a prayer for him as he does this. Let's join.
Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ. And welcome to this live broadcast coming to you from Lisbon, Portugal, where Pope Francis is currently on his 42nd apostolic journey since becoming Pope in 2013. This is his second day, and what we're witnessing here now at the Catholic Portuguese University is his first public event today. He'll soon be meeting with the university students gathered here. As we see, he's also here for the 37th World Youth Day. We just saw the logo. Here we're seeing the President of the Republic, it looks like, who's here to join this particular event. Before continuing, I'd like to welcome all of you to this broadcast. Some of you may be joining us through our very own Vatican Media channels, our Vatican News app, or the Radio Vaticana app, our Vatican News English web portal, YouTube channel, or Facebook live feed. And to all of our television viewers out there, a warm welcome to those of you tuning in through EWTN, Shalom World Television Networks USA, Shalom TV India, and Sunday Shalom at Madarshan TV India, Salt and Light Media, Catholic Faith Network, Catholic TV, and Uganda Catholic Television. And we have some radio listeners out there. A warm welcome to those of you tuning in through Radio Maria in Papua New Guinea, but also to all of you who have found us through our shortwave transmission or perhaps other local or diocesan radio stations picking up the broadcast. I'm Sister Bernadette. It's a pleasure to be able to provide this broadcast to you. It's just about 9 o'clock in the morning, local time in Portugal. As we know, Francis took off yesterday morning and arrived around 10 o'clock local time. He was welcomed at the airport by the President, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, whom we've seen here. And he then also paid a courtesy visit to the President and addressed government leaders, members of civil society, and the diplomatic corps. He also met with the President of the Assembly of the Republic of Portugal, Augusto Santos Silva, in the afternoon, and then celebrated Vespers with the bishops, priests, deacons, consecrated persons, seminarians, etc., all who work closely in the Church's pastoral ministry, which is a normal event on all of his apostolic journey schedules. This morning, the Pope, actually yesterday evening, we learned that he also met with 13 victims of sexual abuse. This had been planned ahead of time, but details were not released due to the privacy of the encounter. Our Holy Father met with 13 victims of abuse who were accompanied by several church organizations who are committed to the protection of minors. The meeting lasted over an hour, and it ended shortly about 8:15 local Lisbon time. That's information released by the Holy See Press Office. This morning, the Holy Father said Mass in private this morning. And this is his first event for today. Jesus. we hear one of the former World Youth Day theme songs now being performed. Here we see the Vatican delegation, the papal entourage. Now, this is the Pope's second visit to Portugal. His first was in 2017. He went to the Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima on the 12th and 13th of May in order to take part in the centennial celebrations of the apparitions. He is the fourth Pope to visit Portugal. Pope Paul VI visited here in 1967, and Pope John Paul paid 3 visits to Portugal. The first in 1982, a year after he was shot. He wanted to pay homage to Our Lady, whom he believed saved him from that assassination attempt, and he left the bullet there that had been extracted from him as a way of thanking her for having miraculously saved his life. He also went back to Portugal in 1991 and 2000, and Pope Benedict went to Portugal in 2010. So all of his predecessors, going back to Paul VI, have visited this particular country. The meeting taking place today, we see our Holy Father now arriving in his wheelchair. We're at the Catholic University of Portugal, or located in the Palma de Cima campus in the center of Lisbon. It was established in 1967 by a decree of the Holy See at the request of the Portuguese Episcopal Conference. Official recognition on the part of the government came in 1971. Here we see the rector, the current rector, greeting the Pope. Her name is Isabel Capeloa Gil. This is the first modern university in Portugal not to have been founded by the state, as a result of the concordat between the Portuguese government and the Vatican. It focuses on the humanities, and they believe they also have an international vocation. They have campuses based in other parts of Portugal, and they hope to promote qualified education and the integral training of their students. They start with the principles of Christian humanism, and they respect diversity and free thought. It's recognized as one of the best universities in Portugal. Our Holy Father now has taken his seat. Holy Father acknowledging the applause. And now the rector's welcome. Holy Father, welcome.
Professores, colaboradores, alumni e amigos.
On this campus of the Portuguese Catholic University, students, professors, collaborators, alumni, and friends of our university and of other Portuguese and international universities are gathered, who welcome you as pilgrims with an open heart. The Portuguese Catholic University was founded 56 years ago, originating from the Faculty of Philosophy of the Society of Jesus in Praga. Today it has 17 faculties and 4 campuses in Lisbon, Porto, Braga, and Viseu, with about 20,000 students. And in 1996, it established what is now the University of San Jose in Macau, China. We're a university on the move, with many international professors, about 2,000 professors.
E atribuindo bolsas de estudo e prémios a mais de 20% dos nossos alunos.
Scholarships and prizes are awarded to more than 20% of our students. We especially care about working with young people in situations of social and economic fragility, migrants and refugees, supported under the Pope Francis Fund. By definition, the university is a space for research, dialogue, and welcome. In the face of realities marked by exclusion and inequality in an age of uncertainty, the university stands as a guardian of hope, which means promoting the ability to dream, a help in order to discern, to listen to the voices that surround us, listening to the times in order to intervene, defending the dignity of women and men, believing in their transformative capacity. The search for knowledge to improve the human condition is combined with an ethical discernment that guides the possibility of making choices and taking action, fostering beauty and the aesthetic posture, which is also a search for meaning in the world. In addition to the laboratories and classrooms, the university also organizes activities around 2 art galleries. The university exercises the nurture of knowledge, the philosophy of action, and the management of beauty. Holy Father, in the encyclical Laudato Si, you invite us to think of a single world with a common project and to welcome the world as a sacrament of communion. This should be the experience and practice of an academic. Indeed, science and research require mutual recognition and the ability to transform and transcend in community and collaborative involvement. Our proposal is rich in values because it springs from the humanistic Christian vision of existence. But to honor this tradition, we must ceaselessly challenge ourselves. The university does not exist to preserve itself as an institution, but to respond courageously to the challenges of the present and the future. Therefore, it will always be a work in progress, never completed. The construction of the new Campus Veritate of the Portuguese Catholic University, whose foundation stone Your Holiness will bless, will increase the welcoming space of our campus, open to the world, to listening and to hope. And in this significant moment, we also want to announce the birth of a new chair
do escultor Manuel Rosa e oferecemos conhecimento, anunciando a nova cátedra Economia de Francisco.
And the new chair is called Economics of Francis and Clare, dedicated to welcoming transversal initiatives to all the faculties and to promote the principles of the economy of Francesco and to develop a social plan or social model that puts people and the environment first. Pope Francis, may God reward you for the generosity with which you inspire us in our mission. We pray for you. Thank you for your concern for the protagonists of the future, the young people who are gathering in Lisbon these days and from whom we will now hear some of their voices. Our Holy Father standing and now greeting the rector of the Portuguese Catholic University, Isabel Capeloa Gil.
Santo Padre.
And here we are now hearing some testimonies. This is from Tomás Virtuoso. Holy Father, in my academic career, the Portuguese Catholic University has been a place of transversality of knowledge, in which everything is perceived as connected and interdependent, of renewed amazement in front of the beauty of created reality, whether in a mathematical equation or in a text of St. Augustine, and of a profound encounter with God, who sustains everything and gives meaning to everything. Much of what you propose, Your Holiness, in the encyclical Laudato Si, I was able to experience during these happy years as a student at the desks in the classroom or in the library, in the extraordinary experience of the country mission, and in the Economy of Francesco project, and finally, in the many friendships I have made here, which remind me that my life acquires purpose and greatness when it is lived with others and in service.
que a Laudato Si nos lança.
It seems to me that my generation is being asked to not ignore the many insights that Laudato Si offers. In the first place, when it encourages us to increasingly apply the best science has to offer, to place our trust in the divine gift of reason, to continue to find effective solutions to the challenge that present themselves. Secondly, when it asks us to reject technological progress that does not have strong ethical and spiritual roots, that does not ensure respect for the inviolable dignity of the person and of all creation. Thirdly, when it leads us to the firm decision to live according to the demands of the common good, a foundational principle of the Church's social doctrine. Furthermore, when on the one hand it stimulates us to a conversion of life, and it encourages us to a more committed political and social participation, which focuses on the preferential option for the poor. Finally, when it encourages young Catholics of my generation to evangelize, to fearlessly affirm that an authentic integral ecology is not possible without God, that there can be no future in a world without God. Holy Father, in the 4th International Congress on the Care of Creation, with which the Catholic University hosted earlier this week, through the initiative of the John Paul II Foundation for Youth, we committed ourselves precisely to integral ecology, in a certainty that Christ, the living and true God, is the answer to a world that seeks meaning among the joys and pains of the present time. I have the joy of being able to deliver into your Holiness's hands the manifesto resulting from our work on lifestyles for a new humanity. Thank you, Holy Father, for inviting us to be true worshippers of God, and in this way to live wisely, to think deeply, and to love generously. Thank you. This is Tomas Virtuoso. He's 29 years old. He was born in Lisbon, and he has a degree, or is working on a degree in economics at the School of Business and Economics. And he is also in his second year studying theology in the Faculty of Theology.
Santo Padre, reconheço hoje.
This is Mariana Cravero.
Converjo com os princípios para os quais Vossa Santidade.
Holy Father, today I joyfully recognize that my journey in this university converges on the principles towards which Your Holiness has summoned the academic world through the proposal of a global educational pact, and this is what I would like to focus on. I started studying at the Catholic University in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. In this context, the university, through the Catholic Solidarity Program, helped me understand the urgency of seeing the human person as a priority. And so I was able to lend a hand every week to serve meals to the homeless and needy in the heart of the city of Porto. However, this experience was only a starting point. It's the way God taught me that this welcoming service to the most vulnerable and excluded had to be a daily priority as a student, as a member of an outgoing church.
A Universidade Católica pôs-me também em contacto com a metodologia aprendizagem serviço.
In recent years, I've collaborated with an institution that supports people with disabilities, and I've been able to see the impact of the hope and joy given and received. The Catholic University also put me in touch with the internship service methodology, which gave me a more inclusive understanding of academic themes and greater certainty about the civic responsibility that education brings with it. In this context, I volunteered in a prison psychiatric clinic. I dived into this project with head, hands, heart, and soul, and we managed to achieve high goals, making, for example, 28 prisoners with mental health problems recognize their potential and experience. The Freedom of Talents, the title I gave this project. I recognize that I have never lacked the contribution of the educational community with the conditions and tools necessary to be able to grow fully as a young person and as a woman. Therefore, I commit myself to being a link of reconciliation and peace in the service of the community, as Your Holiness never ceases to remind us or recommend to us. And I'm sure that God invites me to dream of my journey among the most excluded. As a future psychologist, my duty is to welcome everyone without discrimination and to accept others just as they are, regardless of the conditions in which they live or their past. Holy Father, I want to be a protagonist of change and not a young woman at the window watching the world go by. Professionally applying what I have learned to touch the most vulnerable and to help write new stories and paradigms for a more just and believing world. Our generation wants to be happy. I realize with joy that I am surrounded by young protagonists, enterprising, and ready to make noise with that enthusiasm, commitment, and hope that transform the world. We young Christians have a great desire to infect others and show them that it is worth taking a risk with God. Holy Father, I know that God is young, and I see Him every day in each of us. Thanks a million. Mariana Cravero, born in Porto, she's 21 years old. She holds a degree in psychology from the Faculty of Education and Psychology. From 2023 onward, she will be a student of the master's degree in Psychology of Justice and Deviant Behavior. And she's given a gift of a cross to our Holy Father and receives in return the gift of a rosary. Now we should be hearing a choral presentation.
For us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air, wait for us somewhere.
So not only hearing testimonies, we've heard a beautiful duet. Now we hear a testimony from Beatriz Ataid, Holy Father, good morning. I thank you for so many invitations to go deeper and carry out a mission together. Thank you for making us take new paths, provoking us to reflect, listening to us, empowering us, encouraging us, and placing trust in us, young people of the Economia Francesco. My philosophical studies are at the culmination of a long process of discernment. Little by little, I realized that whatever vocational form of life, whatever vocational form my life might take, my desire to mature always has led me to take care of others. Specifically, I felt called by God to help lift hearts wounded by sin. So after my late conversion, I had various experiences that led me to conclude that it is from the field of culture that I feel called, that God will bless me in the field of culture. That's where I will discover myself and discover Him, and I will be able to take action. Like yeast in the dough, like salt of the earth, it is in the culture of the village, in the culture of the people, in the culture of the earth, with its songs that I want to find myself on the alert, and with the church in favor of a good and healthy culture. A huge confirmation of this is realizing that even before my conversion to the God of Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit was guiding me in this direction as a baptized person. And since that time, I have also remained very interested in the question of what it means to live and be a person, and also in the meaning of suffering. So philosophy emerged as the way by which God was enabling me to take on more care for my brothers and sisters, and for myself, for whom Jesus Christ suffers so much. I discovered the great dynamism that emanates from the study of philosophy to give prevalence to the virtues, but also to create bonds of friendship in the common search for the truth, which is Christ, and to fight against cultural uprooting. In the Portuguese language, we have an expression that we use when we want to help someone, chamar a razão, to make them think. What I want is that reason remain at the service of communion. So as a cultural agent in the broadest sense, I will find joy in bringing the art of contemplation among people. I want to help think and live life based on the principles of charity, peace, and truth. As St. Ignatius advises us, the commitment to the little, the small, and the possible is helpful. At this moment, I am committed to completing the philosophy course. The habit of prayer is essential for this, to grow day after day in trust in providence and in openness to the Holy Spirit. Many thanks. This is Beatriz Ataide, and she was born in Lisbon. She's 27 years old, and she is a member of the Economia Francesco Hub in Portugal, and she attends the campus in Braga. And we have one more testimony here, a testimony of Mahur Kafashian. I am a student of dentistry in Viseu since September 2022, initially displaced from my country, Iran. I took refuge in Ukraine, where a real war made me feel like a survivor. But above all, I am a believer, and I owe my hope regarding the future to the extraordinary team of the Catholic University. They have taken care of me and continue to do so within the context of the Pope Francis Social Support Fund. I was not the same person I am now. If they had told me last year that I was a very strong person, I probably wouldn't have believed it, but now I do. After everything I've been through, after the constant feeling of being without a home, family, friends, after being left without a home, without a university, without money, I know that the concept of strength doesn't mean that I don't feel tired, exhausted, and broken down by grief and loss. It just means that I have the strength, faith, and courage to carry on. I feel proud to be here for a new beginning in this beautiful and welcoming country, actively participating in the life of our common home and studying, while I too try to sow love, hope, and faith around me to those who unconditionally offer me a culture of encounter in this university. There are no words to describe my feelings right now, but I am blessed to be able to be here, proudly speaking to you about the past, about my past, believing that better days will come. Thank you. As we heard, this is Mahur Kafashian, a native of Iran, 25 years old. She's a student of dentistry in the Faculty of Dentistry located in the Visio campus. So we've heard testimonies from all of the campuses. We should be hearing from our Holy Father now, the address that he has prepared for the university students. The Catholic University of Portugal, founded in 1967, the same year that Pope Paul VI visited Portugal. And we hear the crowds. Many of these students most likely also participating in World Youth Day. Our Holy Father will be participating in the welcome ceremony this evening. Dear brothers and sisters, good day, he says in Portuguese.
Gracias, señora rectora, por sus palabras.
Thank you, Madam Rector, for your kind words. You said that all of us feel like pilgrims, and that's a beautiful word, one well worth reflecting on.
Literalmente significa dejar de lado la rutina cotidiana y ponernos en camino con un propósito, moviéndonos.
To be a pilgrim literally means to put aside our daily routine and to choose to set out on a different path, moving away from our comfort zone towards a new horizon of meaning. The notion of pilgrimage nicely describes our human condition, for like pilgrims, we find ourselves facing great questions that have no simple or immediate answers, but challenge us to continue the journey, to rise above ourselves, to press beyond the here and now. It's a process which every university student is familiar with. A pilgrim moves toward a goal. There's always the danger of walking in a labyrinth where there's no goal, and you'll never find your way out. We are rightly wary of quick and easy answers. That's the labyrinth. Easy solutions that neatly resolve every issue without leaving room for deeper questions.
Desconfiemos de esas propuestas que parece que lo dan todo sin pedir nada. Desconfiemos. La desconfianza es un arma para poder caminar adelante y no seguir dando vueltas.
Distrust never allows us to take up challenges. One of Jesus' parables uses the example of a pearl of great price, which is sought and found only by the wise and resourceful, by those ready to give their all and to risk everything they have in order to obtain it. So they seek, they look, and they risk. And these are the two words that describe the journey of a pilgrim: to seek and to take risks. Pessoa once noted, ruefully but correctly, to be dissatisfied is to be human. We shouldn't be afraid to feel somewhat ill at ease in thinking that what we are doing is not enough. Feeling ill at ease in this sense, in the right measure, is a good antidote to the presumption of self-sufficiency and narcissism. Our condition as seekers and pilgrims means that we will always be somewhat restless. There's always something incomplete. For as Jesus tells us, we are in the world, but we are not of the world. We're called to something higher. We'll never be able to soar unless we first take off. We should not be alarmed then if we sense an inner thirst, a restless, unfulfilled longing for meaning and a future. And in order to do this, we have to always have access to our memory. We shouldn't be sick or lethargic, but alive. Especially, we should only be worried when we are tempted to abandon the road ahead in order to seek a resting place that gives the illusion of comfort, or when we find ourselves replacing faces with screens, the real with the virtual, or resting content with easy answers that anesthetize us to painful and disturbing questions. We can find this in any... there's always ways that we'll find out how to behave well. But these easy answers always drug us. Friends, I would like to encourage you then to keep seeking and to be ready to take risks. At this moment in time, our world faces enormous challenges, and we hear a painful plea of so many of our brothers and sisters. We're living a Third World War piecemeal. We're not experiencing the agony of death, but we're experiencing a process of giving birth. Not at the end. We're not at the end, but we're at the beginning of a great new chapter of history, so we need to have courage. So we need to work on a new choreography, one that respects the dance of life by putting the human person at the center. And so your rector's words impressed me, especially when she said that the university does not exist to preserve itself as an institution, but in order to respond courageously to the challenges of the present and the future. Self-preservation is always a temptation. It's a knee-jerk reaction to fears that distort our view of reality. If seeds were to protect themselves, they would completely destroy their generative power and condemn all of us to starvation. If winter were to persist or never end, we would not marvel at the spring. So, replace your doubts with dreams. Don't remain hostage to your fears. Set about working to realize your goals. A university would be useless if it were simply to train the next generation to perpetuate the present global system of elitism and inequality in which higher education is the privilege of a happy few. Unless knowledge is embraced as a responsibility, it bears little fruit, it will be sterile. If someone who has benefited from a higher education, which nowadays in Portugal, as in the wider world, remains a privilege, makes no effort to give something in return, that person has not fully appreciated the value of the gift received. So I'm thinking in the book of Genesis, the first questions God asks are, where are you and where is your brother? It would be good for us to ask ourselves, where am I? Am I trapped in my own bubble? Or am I ready to take the risk of leaving my security behind and becoming a faithful Christian, working to shape a world of justice and beauty? Or again, where is my brother or sister? Experiences of fraternal service such as Mishao Pais and many others that arise within academic communities, which ought to be considered essential for those attending university. An academic degree should not be seen merely as a license to pursue personal well-being, but as a mandate to work for a more just and inclusive and very truly progressive society. I'm told that one of your great poets, Sofia de Mello Breiner Andersen, was asked in an interview, which served as a kind of testament, what would you like to see Portugal achieve in this new century? She responded without hesitation, I would like to see the attainment of social justice, the reduction of the gap between rich and poor. Allow me to put this same question to you, dear students, pilgrims of knowledge. What do you want Portugal to achieve? What do you want the world to achieve? What changes? What transformations? And how can universities, especially the Catholic University, contribute to this?
Beatriz, Maur, Mariana, Tomás, les agradezco sus testimonios.
I thank you for your testimonies. They all struck a hopeful note. They were full of enthusiasm and realism. You did not complain or escape into flights of idealism. You want to be protagonists of change, as Mariana told us. As I listened to you, I thought of a phrase from the writer José de Almada Negreiros, which may be familiar to you. I dreamt of a country where everyone was able to become a teacher. This old man, now speaking to you because I'm old, also dreams that yours will also become a generation of teachers. Teachers of humanity, teachers of compassion, teachers of new opportunities for our planet and its inhabitants, teachers of hope. Teachers that defend any life that is threatened right now, especially through the ecological crisis. As some of you pointed out, we must recognize the dramatic and urgent need to care for our common home. Yet, this cannot be done without a real change of heart and of the anthropological approaches undergirding economic and political life. We cannot be satisfied with mere palliative measures or timid and ambiguous compromises, for halfway measures simply delay the inevitable disaster.
No olviden esto. Los términos medios son solo una pequeña demora en el derrumbe. Se trata más bien de hacerse cargo.
It is a matter of confronting head-on what sadly continues to be postponed. The need to redefine what we mean by progress and development. In the name of progress, we have often regressed. Yours can be the generation that takes up this great challenge. You have made the most advanced scientific and technological tools, but please avoid falling into the trap of myopic and partial approaches. Keep in mind that we need an integral ecology, attentive to the sufferings both of the planet and the poor. We need to align the tragedy of desertification with that of refugees, the issue of increased migration with that of a declining birth rate, and to see the material dimension of life within the greater purview of the spiritual. Instead of polarized approaches or creating polarization, we need a unified vision. Thank you, Thomas, for reminding us that an authentic integral ecology is not possible without God, that there can be no future in a world without God. In response, I would say, make your faith credible through your choices, for unless faith gives rise to convincing lifestyles, it will not be a leaven in the world, and it won't be enough for us Christians to be convincing. No, it's not enough for us Christians to be convinced. We must also be convincing. Our actions are called to reflect, to be joyful and radical, and witness the beauty of the gospel. Furthermore, Christianity cannot be lived as a fortress surrounded by high walls, a Christianity that raises the ramparts against the world. That is why I was moved by Beatrice's testimony when she said that it is precisely within the field of culture that she feels called to live the Beatitudes. In every age, one of the most important tasks for Christians is to recover the meaning of incarnation. Without the incarnation, Christianity becomes ideology. This is a temptation, ideological Christianity. It's a Christianity, a quote-unquote Christianity. It is incarnation that enables us to be amazed by the beauty of Christ revealed through every brother and sister, every man and woman. In this regard, it is significant that you have named your new academic chair dedicated to the economy of Francesco, also after St. Clare. The contribution of women is indeed essential, and in a collective consciousness, we've often thought of women as second class, as something supplementary, and that not giving them the role of protagonists. This is what's been happening in the collective unconsciousness. The contribution of women is essential. In the Bible, we see how the economy of the family is entrusted largely to women. They are the real heads of the household, possessed of a wisdom aimed not merely at profit, but also toward care, coexistence, and the physical and spiritual well-being of everyone, including the poor and the stranger. It's enthusiastic to approach the study of economics from this standpoint. For the sake of restoring to the economy its proper dignity, lest it fall prey to unbridled market speculation. The Global Compact on Education, with its 7 overarching principles, encompasses many of these issues, from caring for our common home to the full participation of women and the need for innovative ways for understanding economics, politics, growth, and progress. I encourage you all to study the Global Compact and to become passionate about it. One of the points it addresses is the need to educate about welcome or acceptance and inclusion. We can't pretend that we've never heard the words of Jesus in the 25th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. So I was moved as I listened to Mahur's testimony when she described what it's like to live constantly feeling the absence of hearth and home and friends, of being without a home, a university, or money, tired, worn, and beaten down by grief and loss. She told us that she rediscovered hope because she met someone who believed in the transforming power of the culture of encounter. Every time someone offers a gesture of hospitality, it prompts a transformation. Dear friends, I'm very happy to see that you are a lively academic community, open to the current reality, in which the gospel is not a mere decoration, but an inspiration for your individual and collective efforts. I know that your lives are busy between study, friends, community service, civil and political responsibilities, care for our common home, artistic activities, and so forth. That is what it means to be a Catholic university. Each part is related to the whole, while the whole is to be found in each of its parts. As you acquire knowledge and academic expertise, you will mature as a person in self-knowledge and in the ability to discern the path of your future. Going on a journey, yes, but in a labyrinth, no. So carry on. A medieval tradition has it that when pilgrims on the Camino de Santiago met one another, they would greet each other by exclaiming, Ultreia, and the other would respond, Et Suseia. These expressions encourage us to persevere in seeking and in the risk of the journey, telling us to move on and aim higher. Go, take heart, keep going. That, dear friends, is likewise my heartfelt wish and prayer for all of you. The crowd now reacting to the discourse of our Holy Father. We also see here Cardinal Tolentino in the line here, the prefect for the Dicastery of Culture and Education. It would have been the former Congregation for Education that established the Concordat for the foundation of this university. And we'll now be praying the Our Father together. Here again we see the President of the Republic taking part in this event.
Con toda igreja, oremos como o Senhor nos ensinou. Pai nosso, que estais nos céus, santificado seja vosso nome. Venha a nós o vosso reino. Seja feita a vossa vontade, assim como no céu. O pão nosso de cada dia nos dai hoje. Perdonai-nos as nossas ofensas, assim como nós perdonamos a quem nos tem. E não nos deixeis tentação, mas livra-nos do mal.
And now we'll be receiving the Apostolic blessing.
Bendito seja o nome do Senhor. O nosso auxílio vem do Senhor. Abençoe-vos, Deus Todo-Poderoso, Pai, Filho, Espírito Santo. Amém.
And those here present now, about 6,500, 2,000 present, with about 6,500 in another hall, being able to see what's going on with screens, now applauding, all on their feet. At the end of our Holy Father's visit here to the Catholic University of Portugal. Our Holy Father taking part in his first event today on this second day of his apostolic visit, once more greeting the rector of the university. Our Holy Father now beginning his way away from the stage here, as we once again are able to enjoy the music being offered. Holy Father now in his wheelchair taking his leave. Our Holy Father here in Portugal on the second day of his apostolic journey. He will be driving by car now about 35 kilometers to Cascais, where he will visit the headquarters of Scholas Ocorrentes, and as we heard earlier, he is now blessing the cornerstone of a new faculty being opened. The faculty of, or the chair, excuse me, of the economics of Francis and Claire. Actually, it's the cornerstone of the construction of the new Campus Veritati that he just blessed. So at this time, we take leave of you. We hope you join us. We'll be back again live with our continual coverage of the Holy Father's trip to Portugal. He'll be appearing at the headquarters of Scholas Ocorrentes in about 20 minutes. But I also invite you to visit the Vatican News web portal, our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter accounts. You'll find continuous coverage of all of Pope Francis' events during his apostolic journey here to Portugal, as well as coverage of other Vatican and world news. On behalf of Vatican Media, thank you to our audio technician, Daniele Giorgi, and to our coordinator, Alessandro Di Carolis, and to all others who've made this broadcast possible, especially our media partners, EWTN, Shalom World TV, Shalom TV India and Sunday Shalom at Madarshan TV, Salt and Light Media, Catholic Faith Network, Catholic TV, and Uganda, Catholic Television, and Radio Maria, Papua New Guinea. Let's keep these young people in our prayers, especially all those who have gathered for World Youth Day. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
Casa e pela montanha subiu para ver
Shout to the Lord, sing out to the Lord. Lift him up, up about with your praises and love. Shout to the Lord, sing out to the Lord. Lift him up about with your praises and love. Rise up and raise your voice. Get up and make some noise. Rise up and raise your voice. Get up and make some noise. Shout to the Lord, sing out to the Lord. Lift him up about with your praises and love. Shout to the Lord, sing out to the Lord. Lift him up about with your praises and love.
Hi, we're here with Manuj Sani from Jesus Youth. Hi Manuj,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
So what are your present responsibilities?
I presently serve as the International Director for Formation in Jesus Youth and also as the Executive Secretary of the Federation of Asian Bishops Conference, Office of Evangelization.
Wow. And could you explain us a bit what Jesus Youth is?
Jesus Youth is an international movement. We started in a small way from India in 1985, when Pope John Paul II announced the first year of youth, the first World Youth Day in 85. So we grew, we started in Kerala and then spread to different parts of India and to different parts of the world. We are in more than 40 countries now. And we were very actively involved in the World Youth Day from year 2000 onwards, last 23 years.
Damn. And this gathering here in Fatima, when did you decide to do it?
So every World Youth Day is a beautiful occasion for young people to come together, see the beauty and richness of the Catholic Church. So we are bringing together around 800 pilgrims from around the world,
Wow,
for more than 25 countries to Lisbon, and then we thought we should have a gathering before the World Youth Day. So and we thought Fatima is the right place.
Yes.
Very near to Amada. So we took Fatima as the venue here. So almost 600 are here now and 200 more will join us in Lisbon.
Could you tell us what your mission will be in this World Youth Day?
So every World Youth Day, Jesus Youth used to contribute in two ways. First thing, our bands, our music bands was always a main part of the World Youth Day from our side. So the senior most band, Rex Band, used to perform from 2002, Canada, Toronto World Youth Day onwards. Rex Band performed in 6 World Youth Days and 5 in the central events. Now we have younger bands, 5. So in Lisbon, there are going to be 5 bands, 13 concerts happening in the next 4 days time. No, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next 4 days time. 13 concerts, 5 bands from 3 continents here.
Wow. And will you also...
One more thing, okay, we normally animate Catechesis Center. Now this year it is called as Rise Up meetings. So Jesus Youth is in charge of animating one of the Rise Up gatherings in English.
Wow. And do you feel that there's a lot of excitement from your group to finally be here?
Of course. You're going to be part of few millions there. So naturally, especially for young people who are coming here for the first time, this is a life-changing experience. I've seen it so many times. For me, year 2000 was the first experience that was like unforgettable, beautiful moment where I saw the richness and the beauty of the church, and I'm sure that a lot of young people are going to experience the same thing in Lisbon.
Yes. And how many, then you've been in more than one World Youth Day, is that right?
This is my 8th or 9th World Youth Day.
8th or 9th.
I was there from 2000 onwards. Yeah.
Damn. And as is these past World Youth Days that you have already attended, have they changed the way you see the church and the way you live your spiritual life?
Of course, especially if you look at the media. Normally we see only the other side of news where you see that churches are closed and people are leaving the church and people are not practicing the faith. But all the World Youth Days, I have seen something so beautiful, because every World Youth Day I am so surprised and amazed by seeing the faith of young people. Last time in Panama, there was a gathering of almost 5,000 people. There was a festival going on there. All of us were there. And during the festival, the Blessed Sacrament was brought to the ground from a tent. And it was, the whole place was full of gravel and rough sand there. all these 5,000 people, young people, knelt down.
Wow.
Knelt down to welcome the sacrament, Jesus in the midst of them. I think it was in Madrid World Youth Day when during the vigil time it was raining. The whole ground was full of mud at that time. The field was full of mud.
Yes.
I've seen more than 1 million young people kneeling for 30 to 45 minutes when the sacrament was exposed there.
Wow.
So I haven't seen it maybe at my young age, maybe such kind of passion and love towards Christ and church. Of course, there is one side to it. There are several people leaving or questioning their faith, but at the same time, the new generation, the younger generation who believe in Christ, they are solid people. I'm always excited, always amazed by seeing the faith of the younger ones now.
Wow. Any message you'd like to leave to the people who can't come?
Maybe I want to go with Pope Benedict, which he addressed us in 2005 in Cologne, where that was his first World Youth Day. He came back to Germany and then he said, "Dear young people, the happiness you are seeking, the happiness you have a right to enjoy has a name and a face. That is Jesus of Nazareth." And he gives fullness to humanity. And then the last part of it, he repeated it several times from Germany to during his papers. He repeated it several times. If you give your life to him, you lose nothing, absolutely nothing of what makes life free, beautiful, and great. So that's something I always love to share. If you're willing to give your life to Christ, you lose nothing, absolutely nothing of what makes your life free, beautiful, and great. But at the same time, you're going to receive thousandfold in return. So just give your life to him and enjoy your life with him. That's the only thing I wanted to share.
Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing World Youth Day.
Thank you.
Another one and more to come.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
So we're here with some of the members of Jesus Youth. Hi.
Hi. Good
Welcome,
to be here.
everybody.
Hi.
Are you excited for this World Youth Day?
Yeah!
So, is this your first time here?
Some of us, yeah.
Is there anybody a second time? Yeah, second time? Nice. Just one second time? There's the third? Third.
Thank you.
So we're here with some of the members of Jesus Youth. Hi.
Hi. Good to
Welcome,
be here.
everybody.
Hi.
Are you excited for this World Youth Day?
Yeah!
So, is this your first time here?
Some of us, yeah.
Is there anybody a second time? Yeah, second time? Nice. Just one second time? There's the third? Third. So, as being second and third, do you have any experience previously that you already shared with the group that have changed you?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to everyone earlier and I said how much I loved World Youth Day and coming together as a Jesus Youth family. So we're really blessed to be here in Fatima.
You've been preparing for how long this World Youth Day?
About 9 months.
9 months.
Yes,
Wow. So
yes.
you're finally here.
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
Feels amazing.
Yes.
Feels really World Youth Day! Jesus Youth loves you!
Hi, we're here with Justin from Jesus Youth.
Yeah, we started our preparations.
So, what is your